I am honored tonight to have with me Dr. Rafaat Gindi, who is a family physician here in Toronto and has been practicing for 40 years. He is also the publisher of Al-Ahram Al-Jadid of Canada newspaper and author of two books, A Lady Among Thorns and A Lily Out of Egypt. The latter one is acquired by the Toronto Public Library, so it's available in public libraries if you want to go and get a copy, borrow it. He's a family man, married with two children and two beautiful grandkids. God bless. Welcome, Dr. Rafaat, and thank you for making time to spend with me and share your vast experience, knowledge, and wisdom. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nabil, for acquiring me. Thank you very much. Before anything, I would really comment about your dedication in this field, in the real estate, and I really appreciate your honesty and commitment. And really, I find nobody can surpass you in commitment and dedication. Okay.
That's very kind of you, Dr. Rafat. I appreciate it. It has been my pleasure to work with you, honestly. So I have prepared here some questions. So let's start with the first one. You have had a distinguished career in medicine, a publisher of a newspaper, and author of two books. That's amazing. What inspired you to pursue these paths? There are three parts here: the medicine, and then you got into newspaper publishing, and you wrote two books. So let's start with medicine. What inspired you to go into medicine?
Nabil, it's a gift from the Lord before anything. Yeah, I actually I wanted to be a physician from the beginning, and the Lord made my way to go forward. That's all what I can tell you. Okay, nothing more, nothing less. I did my part, and the Lord just proceeded before me, and He allowed me to be part for His wisdom and for the wisdom of my and for the to help my family as well. This is in this regard of the medical field. Thanks to the Lord, before anything else, I a successful practice. I have many communities supported my practice, and I am dedicated for them. I serve them with my heart, and in reward, they like me. And this is all what I can do in my medical field. In the career of the newspaper, actually, I was inspired with the what you can say what was going on in Egypt with the suppression of the Copts. Okay, I am part of the Coptic community, and the only reason I started the newspaper is to support the Coptic congregation in Egypt against their persecution. We cannot lie and we cannot say there is no persecution. We say it now in a in a low voice rather than in the days of Mubarak and in the days of Sadat. But there is a suppression to the Coptic community in Egypt, and that was the only reason that we started the Al-Ahram newspaper or Al-Ahram Al-Jadid. Actually, initially started with a group. Most of them was Midhat Awida, Ibrahim Ma'ar, Samir, Ghabbour, and we started the newspaper, and we continued to support the Coptic community. We found that our voice actually went loud in Egypt to the point that one day Al-Ahram of Cairo, that has been going on for more than 150 years. They put an ad that Ahram Canada or Al Ahram Jadid does not belong to them. In a big column, they did an advertisement for us, and we knew from that time that we were read, we were heard. Our influence went to them. And in our return, we wrote a column that really we don't belong to the Ahram of Cairo, and our reason is such and such and such, and all of the reasons we said it was in our favor as well. You know, everybody will talk about his side. And that was the mainly reason that I started Ahram in Cairo. I was inspired with the church to write a book to wrap around all of the issues of the Coptic church, which I belong to. Okay. And the Lord took my hand step by step until I finished my book. And the Lord sent for me one of his messengers to take it to the Toronto Public Library. It wasn't my effort. I started the effort, of course, to send it to the Toronto Public Library. But usually, when I start the issue, the Lord will complete it for me.
Wow.
And he sent me a man who's working there, and he came by chance to my office. He has an abdominal pain in front of my office, so he came to me without my knowledge or his knowledge, and we started to talk. And we talked about the Toronto Public Library. He is part of it, and he took the book and he introduced it into the Toronto Public Library.
Obviously, you are a contributor. You love to help people with your heart, and that shows in your dedication in pursuing, medicine, putting your heart into it. You felt the hardship of the Coptic brothers in Egypt, and you started the Al Ahram, to support them and make our voice loud there so that they can get the support they need, whether, from us here in Canada and in Egypt as well. And the books, that's very interesting. So when you wrote the books, what did you want to tell the world? What did you want to tell us?
Actually, the idea of the first book was the start of Abuna Ruiz Awad, that he wanted to make a distinguished book for the about the church.
Mm,
And I started the idea. The idea did not go the way he wanted, and it was diverted that I am the one that I went by my own, and I continued with the book. Okay, and
amazing.
that was the start. You can say a winner ways he pushed the button on me, and I did not stop. You see, it's the running of the machine did not stop,
Right, right.
and
And
that
this,
was on. But the Lord, it was an arrangement to
right.
Lord
So
as well.
briefly, what was the first book, A Lady Among Thorns?
It's two books, A Lily Among the Thorns. That's one book about the church. And the second one, actually, I was inspired by the visiting of Baba Shnuda,
Mm,
Bob Shnuda coming to consecrate the church, Amberway's church.
mm.
So I wrote the book about the history of the Coptic church in Canada.
I see.
Yeah, I focused on the church of St. George St. Teresa Church,
Okay.
and I proceeded by just briefly about why the Copts came to Canada, what's the difference between Canada and other countries, what's some differences in the culture between the Canadian culture and our Eastern culture in Egypt, and so on. Then I focused after that on the history of the St. George Center West Church.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, how has all these initiatives motivate and the motivation behind it evolved over the years?
You know what? What can I tell you about King Solomon's verse? Vanity of vanities, all are vanities. Vanity of vanities, what we will do? We are preparing to depart somewhere else.
But
That this is in my mind all of the day and night.
right, we're doing what got you. You're doing your best. You're doing your part.
The more issue into my mind, how can I arrange the affairs of my family before I depart to the best place? All
God
right,
bless you.
that's all in my mind now. Kindly,
God bless you.
you asked me before about some issues in my practice if I wanted to difficulties, or you can say it, or
Yeah, yeah, like,
you know what? I will tell. I like to actually to elaborate about few things into the medical field, especially could be beneficial for some patients. Actually, the family doctor practice is not well known in the Eastern community, and even in some part of the Western. People, they can go to see the specialist when his ear is in pain. He wants to go to the ear specialist. When he has a chest pain, he wants to go to the cardiology. This is not the practice in Canada, actually, or in the field of the family physician. Usually, the family physician is the first one he will see the patient, and he will get involved. 95, I can tell you, of the problems he will be able to solve it without going anywhere else. Okay, and that's what is the system relying on. Okay, even the system will not support the specialist who will see a patient without the consent of the family physician. If somebody will go to the specialist by his own, he will refuse him. Why? Because the system will not support him. You have to go to see your family doctor. He will find out if you need me or not, and it will be up to him. So here, when a patient will come to the doctor, to a family physician, and they will tell him, so what's wrong with you? Said, I want to go to an ear specialist. The family doctor is really off. Okay, he will be upset. Okay, you are coming to tell him that I know that you don't know in this, and I want to see somebody else. Right away, you're putting the family physician off. You see, and even to the point that he will not feel comfortable dealing with you, listening to you after that. Okay, of course, he will do his professional way of job, but you change it his heart. In order to be going with the system, you have to go to tell him what's your issue. Okay, you tell him that I have complained of such and such and such, and then the family physician will see what he will do if he is able to fix the issue or to investigate the issue. He will, or not, he wants to go for another for to refer you for a specialist. Okay, this is the way you should handle, or any patient should handle the issue. But right away, if you go to tell him that I am coming to you to refer me, you're putting the family physician off right
so
away.
patients, they should go first to their family doctor, explain what they're complaining, suffering from. The family doctor then decide what test needed, whatever,
Okay.
examine the person, then decide if his situation is qualified to go see a specialist or not.
Yeah, many times you have to prepare some investigation first. For example, if somebody is coming for say fertility issue. Okay, a lady cannot get pregnant. Okay, coming to say I want to go for a fertility clinic. That's not appropriate. You understand what I mean? You have to do hormonal level for her. You have to know the ovarian reserve for her. You have to know the structure of the uterus and all items related this before he will refer you to a fertility clinic. Otherwise, if you go to the fertility clinic, you say, I want to say, I will tell you, no, no, no. Go first to the family doctor. You will finish the first few steps, then you can come to me.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
You understand?
This issue, Dr. Rafat, are you noticing it um, with uh, with patients who have been in the country long time or newcomers?
Most probably from the Middle East.
The
Yeah.
Middle East,
Yes, yes, I can say that.
new
I,
to
you
the
know what?
country.
I have a patient who came to me. I'm coming me to do an X-ray. Okay, I told her that time, oh, only X-ray. We have fava beans, we have bread, it's a grocery store. She's coming to, to get an X-ray. No, no, we have more than that. We don't have an X-ray only. Okay, well, this is not the appropriate. We take it sometimes lightly. The patient doesn't know, we get upset, but sometimes no, we get offended. Really, I remember a patient came to me and tell me over the phone, I want to see the specialist. I said, okay, sure. Here, that's a referral. Okay, the patient wasn't examined. She complains of such and such. Thank you. I told her, okay, likely you will get the appointment after 6 months. Thank you. Bye. You know what I mean? Here, that's
Mm,
I replied to the request. I'm fine.
mm,
This is the
mm.
request I did. All right, thank you. I haven't heard from him or her about
Mm.
that she will get this appointment even.
Yeah, yeah.
You do not treat the physician like your secretary. You have the order, and then the physician is the secretary will write your order. Okay, you said the order. I want to see such and such or to do such and such, and this the physician is your secretary who is doing that order.
Mm,
It doesn't work like that. Most of the patient to get
mm.
really understanding that the difference between the Eastern and the Western medicine. In some parts of the states, there's no family physician, which sometimes it goes like that.
Mm.
However, actually, the internist will work as a primary physician, replacing the internist will replace the family physician.
So this is the only challenge are you seeing in the
Not
industry,
really.
or there are other challenges?
Oh, no, that's, you know what I'm trying to say about something which can help directing the patient when they are dealing with their own physician. That's all, okay? Make
Mm,
sure that the physician he has a responsibility to help you, okay? He's not going to do something awkward.
mm.
The other
So,
actually problem we have acquired lately after COVID, patient lost trust in the vaccine. Okay, after COVID,
mm,
we have to say every time that you know what, this is not COVID vaccine. This is tetanus diphtheria, for example. This is
mm.
meningitis. This is you cannot go to school without having this vaccine. But people they have a shock about the controversy of the validity and the variability of the COVID vaccine, and if it
Yeah,
has side effect or not.
I'm with
This
you. There are
this
people who believe in it, and there are people who don't believe. I know someone who had maybe 5 stents in the heart, and he's very educated and very knowledgeable, and he doesn't miss a shot. I think he took 5 shots. And I was talking to him, and he said, listen, who do you want to believe? I believe the groups that say the vaccine is the way to go, to support your healthy lifestyle. There are people who are not going to support it, so it's up to you. Who do you want to support? He said, I support these people. So there are people who believe, and there are people who don't believe. So what are the opportunities are you facing these days in the field? Are there any
over,
opportunities?
overwork, overwork. That's what I can
So
tell
it's
you.
overwork.
Yeah, overwork because over the time you're building too many communities and too many patients, and even patients. Even I have patients. They moved away to Niagara Falls, London, Ontario, even Windsor, Kitchener, Hamilton, and they're still my patient, and they like to come to me because of the nature of the relation, and of course, they are dear to me as well. We have relations over 30 years, over 25, 20 years. And it's not all of the crowders are coming from these people, but I'm telling you, overwork and over many patients. We try to use the phone as much as we can to solve the issue of to reduce the number of visiting the office. We try to tell the patient about the results before they are coming. And I remember one of my friends who was telling me, I have a new family physician and he is keen to call me to tell me even when the results are normal. Just he will tell me before I had to visit the doctor. But he did not know this friend actually, and I didn't tell him that this was allowed only by OHIP after COVID. It wasn't allowed
Mm.
before COVID. After COVID, the Ministry of Health allowed the physician to call the patient with the same way that they are visiting the doctor in the office, to decrease the crowdiness in the office. So, okay, having the same way of coming to the office, the same way if you call the patient, use it a little bit after, but still in effect. That the Ministry of Health will recognize telephone call to the doctor, to the patient, to tell them about the result or to follow up.
That means there's a shortage of doctors now.
Of
We need
course,
doctors, and we have
yeah.
lots of them in Egypt.
And you know what? No, actually, we have many qualified physicians here.
Yeah.
The system is really very, very slow to acquire them into their system. Whatever the reason, I have people with me into my office. They are very well trained and they are able to join the system, but the system is very, very slow, and they put obstacles. Despite of that, they are saying, "Oh, we are trying to get many doctors now, such and such," but no, they are not really doing their best. These people that they are well trained and well informed, and they are ready to practice really.
What advice would you give a young, professional or a student who aspires to make a meaningful impact in the medicine field?
Medicine goes with the spirit before the knowledge. You want to help. Okay, ask God for the wisdom in every case. Ask the Lord to give you the wisdom with every patient. And do your job with your heart before your hands. And it will show. You cannot deceive anyone that you are doing with your heart everything. Even if you are just a new graduate, you don't have too much experience, you will grow up in that field, but make the Lord in front of you every time you go to every patient and ask for the wisdom and the help. And of course, you have the basics to have the knowledge and the experience to practice. That's the basic.
Great point. Honestly, if you don't have heart, then I don't think this job is right for you. You don't put your heart and you really care about the patient and you care. Because I remember during COVID, many doctors that are working from home and they just use the phone to call. You go to the office, you go to the clinic. Even during COVID, I remember.
As much as I was able to, I was going.
Yeah, I
But
remember.
I was not fully committed to, because I was on the phone many times to solve the problem and to help the patient, not to come as well. But I used to go on.
Yeah, I used to go, and I remember at the beginning there was the lockdown, and then it started to ease off. And during the time that the easing, you were going, and I've heard that some others they don't need to go; they will just use the phone. Do you know what I mean? Instead of going to the office. And really, how can you help someone or examine someone on the phone?
As
It's
much
hard.
as
It's hard to examine a patient, and especially if they want to go to a specialist without your approval.
you can, whenever you will feel that somebody needs to be seen, yeah, you have to tell them, no, you need to be seen, of course.
So, how do you envision the future of medicine? And are there any trends or innovation like AI? There is a lot of talk happening about AI. How do you see the field of medicine?
I remember in the 80s, they invented the ECG, which will record the heart, the ECG, which will interpret the ECG itself. And I remember the cardiologist, I was with him at that time. I was under training in the office, in the hospital, I mean. He said, "Oh, we have a new cardiologist now came on. Okay, we'll interpret the ECG and he will write the result right away to us. We don't have to read it." This going on actually, this going on in many fields. Interpretations of the AI, which will decrease actually, it will help the physician. It will never remove the duty of the physician or the role of the physician, but it will help him to the benefit of the patient, of course. Yeah, now you have you can have you record your ECG. For example, okay, everybody has. I advise him to have an blood pressure monitor at home. This helps us. This doesn't rule out our diagnosis, our treatment, but the patient will have his blood pressure monitored at
Mm,
home better than in the office. I
mm,
don't rely on the reading of the blood pressure in the office, but I prefer the one which is done at home, which it will be when he will wake up from sleep or he will go to sleep, not during the day events.
mm,
I rely on that as a judgmental issue
mm,
to determine the medicine rather than just the reading in the office. This is
mm,
one of the equipment will help, and so on. All of the equipment will
mm,
help the physician and the doctors, but not
mm.
will replace him.
Yes, good. Yeah. So you okay, this way the patient is at home, more comfortable, there is no stress, and he can take it, you know, several times a week. This way you can see the pattern and decide if he actually has blood pressure or not
Okay,
and adjust the medicine.
and usually I don't advise the patient will he will get panic to go to measure his blood pressure. Of course, it will be high. You
Right.
understand what I mean? And he will come panicky more about the high blood pressure because he was stressed and he measured his blood pressure. This is one of the examples,
Right,
Nabil.
right. With AI, artificial intelligence, I see that there's so many innovations in surgeries. I have a friend who did a kidney surgery, and a robot did the surgery because it was so precise. They made him lie down on a stretcher, and with a belt, they kind of tied him so that he doesn't move. And a robot did the surgery. It was like it's a very sensitive area in the kidney, and they had to remove a tumor.
You know, Nabil, just I would like to add here is the operation is called a robot assisted surgery.
Mm.
It will not be on the robot alone. And you will come in the
Yeah,
report
of
will tell
course,
you
robot, yeah,
robot
assisted.
assisted surgery.
Mm.
Yes, yes,
Mm.
that's true.
So,
Yes.
so you don't foresee that in the future with AI, you could tell the patient, okay, go ask AI questions, put these questions, you have a sore throat. Let the
Going
computer tell you what you have and bring them over. What are the possibilities of?
how about to take the swab and to send the swab to make culture if it is stripped or not? The robot can do that too. But to read the
To read the report.
report and to give you medication and to choose what is the medication for you suitable for
And
you.
definitely, yeah, definitely need a doctor. Okay, so the good news that AI is not going to replace doctors.
It will it will help
It
them
will
and
help, yeah. It will help. It will help doctors. So, do you have
yeah.
any final thoughts or any message that you want to give?
I wanted to ask you why the real estate soared too much from the 80s, 90 up till now. I remember the prices of the price of the house in the 1980s. What it went what? Crazy. Why since 1980 up till now? Did we have too many population here in Canada? I will tell you something, Nabil.
Mm,
In 1982, there was not too much sales of condominium and houses to the point that the government gave a gift to anybody first time buyer to buy a house, or it sounds like a joke now.
the old good days.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
the
the
day of
population was so little,
God.
right? But now is Canada is is overpopulated. I remember the DVP in the 1990s was like you fly in the DVP, and very little traffic. Now it doesn't matter what time you drive on the Don Valley Parkway. It doesn't matter. There is always traffic jams. It's getting busy, as you said. So population growth, the land gets smaller. So like central areas like downtown Toronto, all the parking lots turned into condos, to assist with the population to absorb, and it's just a matter of demand and supply, basically. High demand, less supply. It's causing the real estate prices to go up so high.
That's why the towers are coming high and high in downtown Toronto now.
Towers, yeah, more towers, more expensive. There is more development charges. Now the builders, they have to pay. So
Yeah, so
whatever
many.
being approved is cheaper than what's still to be approved by the city, and the permits, the new permits and new developments is going to be much more expensive than the ones that are currently new under sale. And also there is a supply of existing resale, like an inventory of resale. So the increases in interest rates help prices to go down. And now, since the government of Canada started to cut rates quickly because they increased quickly, so now they have to reduce quickly because the inflation rate is 1.6%, is even lower than the target. In order to save the economy, so they will be cutting faster. So they are expecting another cut coming in December, maybe a 50 point or a quarter point, but it will keep going down. And we see that the sales started to increase. Like the sales increased in October 44.4% from the same compared with the same time last year. So there is a jump in sales. So that's a good thing as well. Well, it was very nice of you to come.
Thank
I
you.
know you are very busy, and I
Oh,
know
thank
that
you.
sometimes you stay late until 3 a.m. in the morning. So I'm so happy to connect with you.
Thank you, Nabil. All of the best for you and for your customers. And
Thank you so much.
I can say that I recommend you too high.
Thank you so much.
From all of my heart, what I can say.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Thank you. Huh?
Nabil.
Take care. Okay.
Bye. Bye bye.